Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the Primrose Garden Block of the Month. My name is Karen Yaffe of KL Designs, and this is Block 1, the Center Medallion. When Katie asked me to collaborate with her on making a quilt for her new fabric line and wool line, I was super excited and honored that she asked me. She told me she needed a 20-inch center medallion and 4 long borders. This was going to be a large quilt, and I said, okay, I'm excited. Let's see what I can do to help you out. And with her vision of color and her quilt blocks, I think this quilt turned out to be quite gorgeous. And obviously you did too, because you are here. So let's get started. I'm going to start out with any supplies that you would need for wool applique. I'm going to show you how to wool applique and to use some of these supplies, and how to just get started on this first center medallion. So let me angle the camera down for you so you can see what I'm doing. And hopefully you can see it okay. It might be too low, just bear with me, sorry. Is that good? I think that's good. Okay, first off, we're going to start with supplies. So the first supply that I'm going to talk about is needles. With wool applique, I use a chenille 24 needle. You can also use a chenille 22. It has a larger eye, a little bit thicker. I normally use the 24 with size 12 Valdani threads, which is what I used exclusively in this quilt, or chenille 24, which is I use with the size 8 Valdani threads. If you feel like the eye in the 24 is a little too small for you, you could certainly use the 24 for the larger eye. And let me see if I can show you the difference. I'm not sure you're going to be able to see. This is the 24. And then this is the 22. So you can see that eye is much larger. I like the 24 better. With the 12, I feel like if I use a 22 for some reason with a 12, I just keep losing the thread and I have to keep rethreading. And that really annoys me. So 24 chenille is what I basically use. And then you will also need a straw milliner's needle, and I like the Tulip brand, Tulip Straw Milliner's size 1. It's the large eye needle that you use to make your French knots. And that is because the needle is the same size from the top to the bottom, so that when you're making those French knots and you're wrapping the thread around, this needle will slide through very easily so that you can make those French knots look perfect. Okay, so those are the only 2 needles basically that you will need. And then you will need I like the Frixion heat erasable markers to mark my vines. I'll mark the design on the background fabric, which is really nice that this background fabric is a light fabric, because you will easily be able to mark your design using a light box if you have one. And these are the Frixion pens that I have right now. I had the bold colors before, but they were out, so I got these really pretty kind of neon looking ones. And when I use these, I try to pick a color that's close to what I'm stitching. Like if I'm doing a vine, I'll try to use green. If I'm doing a red flower, I'll use this orange, but any color would really do. All right, you'll need that. And then you will also need a chalk marking pencil to mark on the wool. Like if you're gonna mark the leaf veins, or those little veins that are on the petals of the main flowers. This is the one I like. This is a Soline chalk pencil. It rubs off pretty easily. Sometimes I have to, redo it as I go, but that's the reason why I like it, because it doesn't stay behind. And these come with refills, and this marks really easily. I really like this one. It's white. Okay, and then one of the most important things you're going to need are scissors. And I have a few options here, but my favorite scissors are these Kai curve-tipped scissors. I pretty much exclusively use these unless there's a big straightaway on a wool piece or something, but I exclusively use this curved. They're serrated. They are sharp to the tip, and you know, on those small pieces, the berries, maybe the small leaves, these are perfect to use. They just go around those corners so well. Okay, but if you don't have those, I like these Karen K. Buckley. I think these are 7 and 8, maybe 8-inch scissors. She has really good scissors also. Sharp to the tip, and just really nice pair of scissors. And I believe these are also, I'm not sure what brand these are. These oh, I can't see. Okay, need my glasses. I just had eye surgery, so I'm having a little bit of difficulty here. These are Kai. These are Kai smaller 5.5-inch, same size as the curved straightaway scissors too. So if you feel like the Karen K. Buckley 8-inch are too big, these work out really well. Same thing, sharp all the way to the tip. Really like these scissors. Okay, so those are your scissors. And then I also used a glue stick occasionally. When you're at the end is when I put when I fuse down all my berries and my small leaves. You know, sometimes they just don't adhere very well forever. Some of them start to fall off. I like to use this glue stick. It's a Soline glue stick. I know everything's going to be backwards too. But just put a little dab on there, and it'll stay while you're stitching. And these also come with refills. And then the other item I like to use is the pressing affair. This is from Granny's Legacy, and it is just a thin, opaque, kind of a sheer fabric. You put this over your wool applique when you're fusing to prevent scorching and burning of your wool and iron marks. And pretty soon I'm going to need a new one, because as you can see, in a couple of places I've fused my pieces the wrong way and fused it to my pressing affair sheet. So pretty soon I'm going to need a new one of those. And then the other thing that I really think you need is the applique pressing sheet. This is it's made out of glass somehow. Glass, and I'm not sure what else. But it is a non-stick, plastic Teflon-y sheet that you can iron on. You cannot burn it. And you will use it for your applique pieces when you want to make like a flower ahead of time. You can make the whole flower. I'm going to show you how to do that in a few minutes. You can make your whole flower, I call them units, make your whole flower unit ahead of time, and then transfer it to your background already fused together. The pieces will fuse together, but they will not stick to this mat. You just wait until it cools down, and then you carefully peel that off. I will show you that in a few minutes. And then I feel like you would need a wool pressing mat. If you don't have a wool pressing mat, you should really invest in one. This is, I think this is the 18 by 24. I think I got a thing under here. Yeah, this is the 18 by 24. This is a good size. I would like a larger one, but this is a pretty good size because you can iron on it. And with wool, you know, you're steaming from the top, but the wool captures that steam and kind of steams it from the bottom too, so it helps it adhere better. And then the last thing I think you're going to need, especially when you do the border, the 10 by 62 inch border fabric, fray check. Because the background fabric is a woven, this is the background fabric, it can fray quite a bit, and I use this fray check, and I feel like I saved it. So you don't want to end up having this fray so much that you don't have a seam allowance to sew your pieces together. So I would suggest getting some fray check. Okay, so let's, before we get to me demonstrating this applique pressing sheet, let's talk about the pattern. So you will get the directions for block 1. It is the medallion, and you will be getting the red fabric too, to make the triangles to finish your square off. So don't forget about that. You'll get to make this whole center medallion. You're going to get this instruction sheet. It'll show you on the back how to add those triangles, and you're also going to get the template. The template for making a full-size template. Whoops, upside down. So this is the top left, this is the top right, and then there's a small section at the bottom that is part of the template, and then all the pieces are at the bottom. If you want, you could cut off the pieces at the bottom just so they're separate and out of the way. So the first thing you're going to do is to, I got these backwards, top right and top left, is to tape these together. And I did that for you, just so you can see. So these are the template pieces all put together. I did cut the right sheet right on the dotted line so I could line it right up. And the same with the bottom. Cut it on the dotted line and taped it to the bottom. This is your full size medallion template. Okay, so that's the first thing you're going to do. And then you are going to get your background fabric, and you're going to have to look at it and decide which side you want to be the front and which side you want to be the back. They're really close, but I chose one side, and I just made sure when I got the fabric for the borders that it was the same. I'm not sure you would actually know if you accidentally picked the other side for the borders, but I just picked a side. So then you're going to need to trim this to 21 inches. Your final size for this when it gets sewn is 20 inches. You will, when you're done stitching, you will trim it to 20.5. But right now you trim it to 21 inches. And we're going to find the center. And to find the center, I folded this in half once and kind of pressed in the center here, and then I folded it again. It's not as important on this block to find the center, but it will be when you get to your borders. And then at the creases, right in the corner there, I just took a small little tack and put a string to let me know that that is the center. Actually, I did that before I, well, I guess it doesn't matter if you do it before or after you trim the block. So I still have a little stitch there. You could even put a mark of some sort. I don't know if you want to put a little pencil mark. It's going to get covered anyway by these flowers, but some kind of mark to tell you where the center is. All right. And all right, so then I am going to show you how to transfer your design onto, oh, I also wanted to show you a close-up of the center medallion. There it is right there. Isn't that pretty? Love the wools that Katie chose. They're just gorgeous. All right, so, oh, the other supply that you might need or tool you might need is a light box. I really suggest a light box. Now, just unplug that. When I started designing, I wasn't sure. I mean, somebody told me about a light box, but I wasn't sure if I needed one, or I didn't really know, you know, what I was doing. And so I bought this really inexpensive one. I think it was like $20, and just to try it out, because if I didn't want to spend a whole lot of money if I didn't like it. So here it is 3 years later. I still have it. It does kind of keep turning off on me, but it's still working. I'm thinking I need to do an upgrade. And Katie's got one that I would just love to have. So I think I might give that to myself. All right, hang on one second. So I am going to, all right, so you're gonna lay your background. Actually, I don't need this light box yet because I can, well, I guess I do. You're gonna lay this on here and just center it. And it's kind of hard with this light box because it is small. Actually, oh, great, just turned off. Hang on, I gotta turn it back on again. All right, so let's do this again. All right. Let me see where I'm at the top. See where I'm at the bottom. And this fabric should really just fit on your paper in the right spot. Just go around and make sure that it is on there well. Okay. Everything's falling off. Okay. And then when you've got it on, I take a few pins and just pin in the corners. That way the fabric doesn't slip off or move around, you know, when you're drawing your design on there. So what I would do first is draw the center flowers. All right, where's my other paper here? Right here's a good spot. All right, so I've got that all marked. I don't know if you can see. So you can see the pattern through this fabric, which is really nice. So then I'm going to take one of my Frixion pens. I'm going to do the orange one, I think. And I am going to trace the design onto this background. Now, the only thing that and you don't have to design it, you don't have to trace everything, because you are going to be making these units ahead of time on your applique pressing sheet, and then you're just going to bring them over and lay them right where they need to go. So you don't have to do every single leaf or petal, just the outline of it. The only thing I did not do when I did this were the little leaves and the berries. I did those last just because I didn't want to fuse those down and have them falling off, possibly. I stitched everything else and then I did those last. So you would just go in here and trace around your design And you don't have to do all the petals, you can just do the outside, because this is going to be a unit that you're going to pre-fuse. Okay, I'm just going to do a few here so you can see. And then the leaf. And especially the stems. Now when you do the stems, extend the stem about 1/2 inch, because you're going to want the flower to cover the top of that stem. Okay. And you don't need to do the little stems that you're going to stitch with just thread, because once you fuse these pieces on, your marking is going to disappear. So I would do these later. And here's another leaf. So you will do this whole design, everything that you plan on fusing down right at the beginning. Okay? All right. So let's turn this off. Oops. Okay. And then get this out of the way. You can see, you can take the pins off then when you're done. Okay. You can see that your design is marked on there, so that when you come back to fuse, you just lay your flower where that outline is, and that's where your flowers and leaves and stuff go. If you want to double check before you iron, just lay them out, get your light box, put your pattern on top, lay this down just to make sure, or just, you know, go like this and lift up. I can see that. Okay. All right, so let's set this aside. I'm going to show you how to use the applique pressing sheet. Let me find it. It fell on the floor. And this is double-sided, two-sided. You can use either side. It doesn't matter. So I am just going to, let's talk about wool applique first of all. So when you wool applique, I use soft fuse. That's the other thing that you're going to need if you like to use fusible. I like soft fuse. It's my absolute favorite. You can buy it in sheets. I don't have any sheets right now. They are, I think they are, you can buy a pack of 10, and I think they're 8 by 9 inches, somewhere around there. You can buy it in the tubes. This is the small pack. It's got 3 sheets, 18 inches by a yard. And then the one I like is the huge one. And I wrote this down somewhere. Let me see the size. Okay, that size was 37 inches wide by 3 yards. So this is, to me, the most economical way to go. It's a lot of soft fuse, but I use a lot of soft fuse. This is the way I like to buy it. So you will get your soft fuse. You will look at your pattern, and there's a list of all your wools here and the pieces that you're going to use for those wool. Like this blue seeded, you're going to use piece T, and there's going to be 6 of them. It's berries. So you will get your pattern, which is on the bottom of this, the pattern pieces. Find the T, which is right here. This says cut 12, but 6 of them are the blue seeded. The other 6 will be the blue solid. Then you will trace 6 of these onto fusible, and then fuse that to your wool. Now I did a sample here because I wanted you to see what would happen with the way you fuse. So when you fuse, I lost my piece. Hang on one second. When you're fusing and you have a lot of pieces and you buy a kit, the kit comes with a certain size of wool that they send with you. Usually it's exactly what you need because wool is expensive, and you know, they'd have to, the more wool they put in there, the more the cost of the kit goes up. So you want to be judicious in how you mark on your fusible. So I did like a sample here. I'm just going to say the piece of wool that you got for this leaf was this size, which is about 3 by 3. So if you just trace out, and you need 12 leaves. I'm going to say you need 12 leaves to go on this 3 by 3 inch piece of wool. If you just trace them on the fusible and cut them out singly and fit them on your 3 by 3 piece, right here I only got 9 leaves, but I'm supposed to have 12. So the solution to that is to cut your fusible the size of the wool and then trace your leaves on. And see, I got all 12 leaves on by tracing them closely together and within the size of that piece of wool. So just be conscious of that when you're tracing and cutting out your pieces, okay? So you will do that. You will trace your pieces, fuse it to your wool, and then you will cut out your pieces on the lines. Do not cut them out outside the lines. Make sure it's either on the line or just within, or the pieces will end up being too big and your design overall could end up being bigger, and you don't really want to have that happen. All right, so I pre-cut out these petals for one of the large flowers on here. So I am going to, I cut out the 3 of the seeded red, 3 are out of the seeded red, and 3 are out of the solid red, and the center. And I'm going to show you how to use this applique pressing sheet. So let me get my iron hot. Also with fusing, when you fuse your fusible to the wool, you want to use a dry iron. You do not want to use steam on that because you just want to adhere that really quick to your wool. And then after you cut it out, and when you are adhering this to your background, that's when you want to use steam. Okay. Also, with this applique pressing sheet, you do not want to use steam. I tried it. I thought I needed steam, and the backing, the steam made it all wet and kind of gluey. It was really a mess. So you need a dry iron with the applique pressing sheet. Okay, so you are going to put this over your template. Pick which flower you're going to do. I'm just going to pick this one right here in the front, and you can see through this. I don't know if you can see that or not. Let me see if I can get this a little closer just so you can see, and you can see through that. Okay. So, and then I am going to, I think I'm going to put my 3 front petals in the seeded red and the 3 back petals in the solid red. So I'm going to lay my back petals first and just put them right on top of your template. And then you are going to iron those down. So this, they actually adhere to this applique pressing sheet, this Teflon-y thing, and they're stuck there. So that, and they're not coming off. So just make sure your sheet didn't move. You're going to add your seeded red to the upper petals, the ones that are on top. Okay. And then you're going to iron those down. Now they will fuse to the other petals and to the back of the sheet. Okay, and you know what I didn't do? I didn't use my applique pressing sheet, and I can see some of my iron marks. So look at that. That wasn't too smart. All right, so then I'm going to add my circle. Just make sure it's on the right side. You don't want to iron it to your iron. Put my sheet over that now. And you're going to iron your center down. Okay? So you can do this with all of your flowers. Your red ones, the plum ones, all the plums, and all the pink buds to their green leaves. I did all of those, especially when you do the side panels, because there's a lot of them. Okay, so you're going to let this cool because it does get quite hot. Let that cool a little bit. And then this just peels off, and you can feel that the soft fuse is still there. Okay, carefully peel this off. The soft fuse is still there, but all the petals in the center are fused together, and it made this flower. So when you go to put it on your background, it's already set. You don't have to worry about the pieces moving around while you're trying to iron them down. So you'll have them all done. Which one did I do? This one? Yeah, this one. And they'll be all done and easy peasy. I just love this applique. I'm glad Katie made me get it. I didn't think I would need it, but I love it. Okay, so when you've gotten all of your units finished, then you're going to bring your backing out, background out. You're going to place all of the ones that you want to fuse. Your design will be here. Fuse them all down, and then you'll start stitching. Okay, so just make sure that when you're laying, you know, all your pieces down, make sure that you put the leaves in the back, put the stems underneath. I think the leaves and the stems are pretty much the only ones that go underneath these big center flowers. All right. So on the next video that I do, I will be going over all these stitches that I used. And I used quite a few. The blanket stitch, the whip stitch, running stitch, split stitch, stem stitch, cross stitch on the stems, the fly stitch, chain, and I'll go over the French knots. So just remember that you are also getting the red fabric so that when you're done stitching and you trim this down to your 20.5 inches, because you're using 1/4 inch seam allowance, you will be making the whole block with the red fabric. All right, and so I hope that helped you out. Let me just bring this up a little just so I can say goodbye. And you're going to be getting your blocks soon if you haven't already. I'm not sure if she's actually shipping them out June 1st or you will receive them June 1st. So happy stitching. Don't hesitate to reach out to Katie or I for any questions, or if you need a little help on any stitches. Remember, I'll be putting out a video of the stitches that we're going to be using. So have a good Memorial weekend. Today's Sunday. We're just kind of laying low and laying back. So hope you have a great Memorial weekend. Bye.